Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK. My BFF Jill, 730. I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations because you've made your way to the Buffington Post. Today, it is time for another Buffyverse discussion because I gotta get you guys ready for Season 8 and remind you of all the things you may have forgotten along the way. So, yeah, here we go. It's the preamble to Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Okay, so like I said, before we get into the Season 8 comics, it's time for everybody to take stock of what we've learned so far in the series. So, first thing you need to take in mind is the Season 6 split from the WB. See, the WB didn't want to give Buffy the Vampire Slayer all the money that they wanted, and so, basically, they went elsewhere after the WB canceled them. And so when they went to UPN, the WB was like, "Nuh-uh, we're not doing any more crossovers between the episodes," and no crossovers happened between the episodes until Season 7 when Buffy was on the way out. So, okay. So not only did the Season 6 split affect Buffy and Angel while they were airing, but when Spike went over to the Angel series in Season 5, it created new problems for us in the comic book series. See, then Spike and all of his official canon became the property of Angel, right? And so when the comic books of Angel were coming out, they were published under IDW, okay? And so Buffy's comics were published by Dark Horse Comics. And so when Season 8 gets here, it was still under the Dark Horse name, but Angel was still going on over in IDW. And then when Angel, after the fall, picks up for the Season 6 of Angel canon, that is still being published over on IDW, and it takes a good long while for the Angel characters to find themselves back in the Buffy Dark Horse house. So don't expect to be seeing Angel and Spike all up in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8 comics. They just won't be there. Okay, so another thing you need to keep in mind is that at the end of Season 7, sure, Buffy saved the day, but the first evil is still out there. You can't get rid of the first evil. It's, very much present in the world. It's always going to be there. So don't think that we've seen the last of the first, okay? So, okay, here are things that we learned over the years from, Buffy, and we need to keep those things in context because those are going to play out in Season 8 and or 9. Okay, so first of all, when Dracula shows up in Season 5, he introduces us to this idea that Buffy is actually world famous. She saved the world so many times that everybody knows about her, etc. Okay, and this kind of plays into the meta-narrative of everybody knowing about Buffy, even if they don't watch her show, you know the show. So, okay, then you got the Initiative, which we're introduced to in Season 4. And the thing about it is, the Initiative knows about the Slayer. The US government knows about the Slayer, and that's going to come into play as well. Buffy was down in the Initiative. They had to have, shared their information with their, bosses at the government at some point. And, I mean, even if they didn't, all of those soldiers in there who knew Riley and who knew, what was going on, they were probably telling people about Buffy and the Slayer, all this stuff. So, anyway. Also, Ethan Rayne, the Initiative took him away in Season 4. Ethan Rayne is going to come back into play in the comic books, so be ready for him. And, okay, Riley, part of the Initiative, he's now married. We caught up with him in Season 6 after he, hightailed it out of the country in Season 5. He comes back, he's married to Samantha Finn, who's just, amazing, right? Ugh. So then, okay, Oz is still out there trying to, fix his wolfiness because, okay, I'm going to have to put that in continuity issues and nitpicks, but, Spike. Oz was all crazy from the moon every month for 3 days, but then, when he experienced negative stimulation, now he's a werewolf too? So, okay, Oz is out there trying to figure out his werewolfiness, okay? And so we found out in season 7 that Amy was apparently stalking Willow all through seasons 6 and 7, and she's just been like creeping about trying to get Willow for being Willow. Whatever. Ethan and Giles, by the way, they both still have their mark of Igon, right? They're still like bound to the demon Igon. That's gonna come into play for real. And Whistler that we met in season 2, like he's still out there, that immortal demon that came to like tell Buffy that she still had herself to count on. Whatever. Yeah, he's still out there. We're gonna catch up with him a little bit later. Stuff we learned specifically in season 7 that's going to affect season 8. Okay, obviously we have all the potential Slayers turn Slayers. There's like a world full of Slayers now. They're everywhere. And that's going to be like one of the big issues of season 8, obviously. Andrew had become kind of like a proxy Scooby. He was working with them, not really Scooby proper, but he was proxy Scooby. So then, okay, Faith came back into the fold, and she had to escape prison to help Angel get his soul all back in him, and then Willow, like, hijacked her back to Sunnydale, and she was all in the main fight, and all this good stuff, but she's still a fugitive, she's still running from the law. Okay, and so we were introduced to Robin Wood in season 7. He was like the principal of Sunnydale High, but also his mother was a vampire slayer, and he got like all involved with Faith, and all involved in like the Scooby-tasticness at Buffy's house with the potentials and First Evil and everything. And so, okay, and then the Watchers Council got all blowed up by Caleb and the Bringers. Yeah, they totally blew up the Watchers Council, so no more of that. Dawn started to really step up and come into her own in season 7. She's starting to be a little woman. We're going to finally see where that goes in season 8. Kennedy was introduced as a love interest for Willow, and she helped Willow to like believe in herself again. And yeah, she was kind of a brat, but at the same time, she helped Willow to like put herself back together and show us that, you know, Buffy's voice isn't the only voice, and she was one of the Slayers, like down in the Majigger and the Hellmouth when they all got their power, and she was like, I really like this. And so Kennedy's one to watch out for. We've talked about her some recently. And Willow, yeah, she like went to what lies beyond the darkness that she faced in season 6, and she overcame it. She came out on the light side. She was just all like Willow McGoddess, and she made all of these girls into the Slayer all over the world, and they're all connected to her, and she could feel them, and she's like really part of something like huge and just super real. And then, okay, Anya died. And Spike died because Angel came with this magic amulet mojo that Wolfram and Hart had given him that I didn't talk about in my Wolfram and Hart video because I'm going to talk about that in Angel After the Fall. So I haven't forgotten. And so whatever, Spike's magic amulet, flashy majigger, destroys Sunnydale, and he gets all burnt up by the sun, and then, okay, so he died. So then over in Angel Season 5, we also learned some stuff that's going to be important for Season 8 of Buffy. Okay, so obviously, Spike was resurrected from this super glowy magic amulet majigger. So then, okay, he was recorporealized on top of that later in the season. Okay, so Wolfram and Hart was taken over by Angel, and he destroyed it at the end. Well, they kind of destroyed the offices of Wolfram and Hart, but then again, we've seen the offices of Wolfram and Hart be destroyed before, and they just like magically rebuilt them. So anyway, Wolfram and Hart will be back. Harmony was working for Angel at Wolfram and Hart, and she totally betrayed Angel at the end, but then she got away. She's out there, and she's going to cause some serious problems for Buffy. Dana, one of the vampire slayers that was created at the end of season 7, she was all like whack in the head because she was crazy before she was turned into a slayer, and then she got her slayer dreams, and they were all like making her think that the dreams were actually happening to her in present, and she just couldn't decipher reality. She was going all crazy, and when she was going all crazy, Andrew showed up, and we found out that he was working as like a watcher. He's like a full-blown Scoob while nobody was looking. Okay, and so he tells us that Willow and Kennedy are down in South America doing God knows who's it's. And then, okay, we find out after Fred dies that the reason Willow can't come and help them with their Illyria situation is because this bitch is over on the astral plane doing God knows who. Aloin, the sexy snake lady. Okay, and so then we find out that Buffy has been like partying it up in Rome with this character called the Immortal, who we never see, but we don't even learn anything about him anyway, except that he's immortal, and Angel and Spike don't like him to begin with, but then they're just super jealous of him because he's got Buffy and whatever. So then, okay, also time is a factor. The reason that we're going to pick up a year later in Season 8 is because we have to accommodate for that time that Angel Season 5 was on the air, because things were like going on in this whole time. Oh, and I was worried about my light, but look how pretty the lightning is back there, guys. Okay, and so now that we're going to get into the Season 8 comic books, there are just some things that you need to keep in mind. Like, they no longer have a budget to worry about. Like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was hindered by its budget its whole run. Let's not kid ourselves. It could look better. It could have better things. The hallway could be longer than, I don't know, my shirt, for example. Okay, and so, locations. This property is going to go global. Buffy's going to be in Scotland, she's going to be in Japan, she's going to be in Tibet, she's going to be back in Sunnydale, and back in God knows where on this island. Crazy. Okay, so then, you're going to have things like Giant Dawn. Get prepared for that. They don't have to limit themselves to a special effects budget at all, so they're going from location to location, but you're also going to see, like, a lot more just magical happening. It's going to be a much more magical world, because even though Buffy was a magical world on TV, it did have rules that allowed it to be more magical. Could they afford it? You know what I mean? And so now that they can afford it, it's going to be as magical as possible. And so also, you're going to have like characters revisiting that we haven't caught up with because you don't have scheduling conflicts between images, you know what I mean? So, okay, we don't have scheduling conflicts, and we're going to see a bunch of people that we haven't seen since like Season 4. It's going to be great. And then, people are going to fly around and just do what they want. We're finally going to get Willow just flying around because, like I said, no budget. And the thing about the comics and why everything is so kind of grandiose is that, between DVD sales and publications and like critical praise and fans like me passing along DVDs to our other friends and making Buffy fans out of them just with like word of mouth, like that all happened between 2003 and 2007 when Buffy went from 7 to Season 8, okay? So all of that happened, and so like Buffy has become a superhero within our minds and also within pop culture. And so she's like regarded as a superhero, and so the comics, particularly Season 8, are there for us to examine Buffy as this comic book superhero, okay? And like I'm gonna do Twilight in its own video, probably somewhat like I've been doing Faith in a couple of videos, probably not as long as Faith though, and really put the whole Twilight thing into perspective, because Buffy is gonna be more fucking meta than ever now that we're in the comic books. And by the time that Buffy did premiere in Season 7 or in Season 8 in 2007, the Twilight craze had really begun. People were glumming onto Twilight, and any Buffy fan will tell you that Buffy and Twilight have conflicting ideas, because Buffy wants to be a person and she wants to live in the light and she wants to, really be in the world, whereas Bella, I haven't read Twilight. I can't really speak to Twilight. I haven't read them. I've only watched like the first movie, but just from what I know about the property, this girl wants to die. Like, this girl wants to let this man just take over her, and that's exactly the opposite of what Buffy's about. Buffy's not going to let any man tell her what to do. So this is basically what's going to happen. By 2007, we have things like Twilight, we have things like True Blood, we have things like The Vampire Diaries. All of these vampire stuff is going to really just be thrown at us to the point where we have to get movies like Vampires Suck. And Buffy's here to fight this. She is here in the comic books to say, no more Twilight. Like, this is bad. And it becomes the whole narrative for season 8. And Twilight is going to seriously affect Buffy's property. Because, I mean, she started the whole teenage girl in love with a vampire thing, but Twilight totally took it away and made it this perverse, awful thing. So Buffy's got to fix that in the comics. So also, just with the way I'm going to be covering things, it's going to be in retrospect. I can't properly review the comic books because I know how season 8 and 9 are going to wrap up. I know what they're going to lay seeds for, and rather than waiting for a month at a time for me to be telling you what's going to happen next, I'm going to know what's happening next. And so I probably won't be able to properly review them. It's really just going to be me explaining them to you and kind of giving you my thoughts and commentary on what's going on in the issues themselves, not really being able to really critique them because, like I said, I've got 20/20 hindsight on the comics. So it's pretty much everything you need to know before we jump into season 8 in the comic books. Hope you're having a great 2015 so far. You can come back to the Buffington Post anytime. I'm here at IDK, my BFF Jill 730. I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, and now season 8. So check out those playlists, and my opening themes are in their own playlist. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye. Sorry, I have a bug on my screen.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.